Hi, everybody. So glad you're here. Happy Monday. Again, we are still in Akumal, Mexico, but look who I have with me. Steve.
Yay!
He's finally going to get in front of the camera. So just as a reminder, we are a traveling nomad couple going around the world, trying to stay in places 1 month at a time and chase 72 degrees.
And I am so excited to be here to be on this video for the first time. Maybe it'll be the last time. Who knows? We'll see how this goes.
But if you like us, give us a like and a subscribe, and we're going to get right into all the things we're going to talk about today, which we actually have a little bit different schedule today. So I'm going to just give you a few pictures. You're going to see some pictures show up of what we're doing here in Akamal. But actually, what we're going to share with you today is the six things we have learned since we've been traveling when we left Denver in July, and also a little insight into our monthly budget. So we're going to talk about that too. So if you like these topics, give us some thumbs up and give us some comments so that can guide us on what we should do our videos about in the future. Sound good?
Great.
So Steve's going to jump into the first thing we have learned since we've been traveling since July.
Yeah, so the first thing I think is the obvious thing is because of COVID, we've just had to be flexible. So where we're staying, where we're going, what we're doing, flexibility is the key. COVID continues to throw wrenches into things and to make our plans change. A really big example of that is how we're in Mexico right now. And when we were talking about this 2, 3, 4 years ago, Mexico was really never on our bucket list of places that we want to go to. And we're going to be here for the entire winter. So COVID is definitely one of those things that has thrown a wrench into a lot of our plans and made us be more flexible.
That's so true. And we're loving Mexico, not complaining, but we thought we'd be in Central America or even maybe in Australia. So here we are in Mexico having a good time. So another thing we've learned, kind of to Steve's point of being flexible, is really understanding the balance of our house sits versus our Airbnb decisions. And what's interesting is because we plan about 3 to 4 months in advance, which I think you're going to talk about, when we make our decisions and our reservations for these things in the future, we're making them based on the lessons that we learned, but we learn a lot of lessons in between when we actually make the reservation and when we get there. One of the lessons that we've learned is when, for example, one of our first house sits was in Kent, England, and we thought that was going to be really close to London and we'd be able to zip back and forth to London. Well, when we got there, we found out it was about a 3 or 4 hour round trip train ride, and we couldn't do that with a dog. So instead of thinking that we were going to be enjoying London all this time and being Londoners for 6 weeks, we ended up being Kent people, and we took advantage of the things that were going on in Kent. So we went on local hikes, we met local groups to go kayaking, we saw the local sites, which one of them was where a famous author was born, and Dickens, and it was just like, we never would have gotten here. Never would have done these things if we would have been staying in London. So we're really learning how to enjoy where we are and listen to our own personal criteria about the places where we want to be. So,
Yeah. So, so the next thing of one of the things that we've learned in our nomadic life is about health and exercise. So particularly about exercise. We had a routine when we lived in Denver, 3 days a week. We did we were members of the gym, we did our exercise classes and had that very, very consistently, no matter what we did that. Now, because we're nomadic, because we're traveling and we're different places all the time, we have to search out and seek out different exercise classes and ways to stay active. The good news is that we found those, and pretty much everywhere that we've gone, we found great places that we could just drop in and we could do fantastic exercise classes here in Acapulco. We've got this Monday, Wednesday thing that we're, on the beach. It's delightful to hear the waves crashing and be doing burpees at the same time.
But I don't know the burpees are ever fun.
Burpees are that fun. But to find that consistency, I've gotten back into running, something that I haven't done in like 10 years. And it's just to be able to have that consistent exercise routine and that regiment and discipline. Because another thing about being a nomad is, you eat more than you normally do. And we're finding lots of great, food options. So having that balance and that consistency is important.
I think what's kind of fun is when we realize that everybody in the world exercises and not everybody's got an F45 gym. So we'll just go to the local park and find the outdoor equipment and exercise there. So Steve talked about food for a second. I'm going to jump in here just a minute and talk just a little bit about food. And we are house sitting, so you might hear the dogs bark. They're getting a little anxious over here. But as for food, when we're in an Airbnb or when we're in a house that we really do try to cook at home. So we go to the grocery store, we buy our ingredients, we come home when we cook. Or when we go out, we still try to eat a vegan lifestyle. In Mexico, it's very difficult because even what you think would be vegan beans, they have lard and things in them, and there's a lot of cheese everywhere. So I guess, when it comes to food, you've got to be flexible as well. I mean, have your goals out there, shoot for 100% vegan, but maybe you end up 80% for the day or 95% for the day. That's okay because it's travel and you want to enjoy it. You don't want to not enjoy a flavor that you've never had before. So anyway, food kind of leads to healthcare, and that's another thing that we've learned about traveling. I think as Americans, we really get concerned about insurance and healthcare and the cost of those things. If you've read our blog post, you've seen that we did buy an international medical insurance policy, which costs us about $200 a month, and that has a $5,000 deductible on it. So that really leads us to having to pay out of pocket for a lot of routine, ongoing things. What Steve and I have discovered is that healthcare so far has been really affordable. I had to have a couple of procedures done in England, and also here in Mexico, I had a lot of procedures done on my knee and got some physical therapy. Steve got some dental work done.
I had to get some dental work done, and it cost about a quarter of what it would have cost in the United States, and it was pretty significant savings.
So if you take a look at our blog, if you go into our blog and search on medical care or insurance, you'll see a breakdown of all the things that we did and the cost of all those things. And it's really affordable and not, for example, physical therapy is like $20 an hour. So anyway, moving on to, I think we're on number 5 of the things that we've learned about our relationship and our friendships. So Steve said, I want you to take this one. So what we've learned is we're together 24/7. We were never together 24/7 prior to going on the road. I mean, Steve did his job, I did my job. We would get together at dinner or whatever. Now we are 24/7 together. And what we've learned is it even requires more communication being together than not being together, because every little thing that I do affects him and every little thing he does affects me. So we talk about those things a lot. But we also have found that we need our alone time too. So we've actually kind of gotten to a routine that works for both of us, where we get up in the morning. If we have dogs, Steve's usually the one that walks the dogs in the morning. Sometimes I'll get up and do it too. But we do take about 2 hours in the morning on our own. And in that time period, we both write, we meditate, we might do our own little exercise routine. We might call some friends, but it's about 2 hours that we set aside totally on our own. We don't even really talk much. I mean, we maybe get a good morning and a good morning kiss in, and that's really about it. And then at about 10 o'clock in the morning or so, we get together and we have smoothies and we talk about our day and do our planning for the day. So that's new for us, and something I think if we weren't comfortable in our relationship, it would be hard to, or you might think, oh, he's ignoring me, or he doesn't want to be around me, or she doesn't want to talk to me or whatever. But since we understand that those are things that we need personally, it's actually working out really well. And also in relation to friendships, we both really miss our friends in Denver. I had a really good group of girlfriends that we went hiking every Saturday morning. I miss them, and they do, love you guys. They do, comment on my Facebook stuff and so on. But if I would love phone calls or reach out or little messages, either on preferably on WhatsApp, because that's free for us to use. And then Steve has his poker games on Tuesday night, and they're starting to do virtual poker games, so he's getting back with his team. Fortunately, we're in East Coast time right now, so that works out really well with Denver time zones. But we're also reaching out to other groups we're meeting online and other travel people that are travel nomads that we either meet with online groups or through Meetup or local Facebook pages, and we're finding friends there. And what's nice when we meet other nomad people is we don't have to explain our nomad life. So we can just kind of jump into how we're living our life and not have to get into great detail about the minutia of our life. So that's been really fun and something that we look forward to. We'll be in Cancun in a couple weeks, and there's a lot of nomads in Cancun, and we think our social life will really pick up when we're in Cancun.
Yeah, and the Go With Less meetups have been great, and we've just run into people. We met people on our cruise that were also nomadic, and just it's really nice to get those relationships, and also just in the local communities where we're living and we're trying to embed ourselves. talking, with the people in restaurants and the locals,
dog walking
just
and
dog
yeah.
walking, and really actually making some great connections and finding people that we could really have those social interactions with and build those relationships.
So the last thing we're really learning is about our logistics. And Steve, he majored in logistics, so this has been very helpful.
So the key thing to know is that I've got a spreadsheet for that, and I've got a spreadsheet for everything. So yeah, just one of the things that we've learned, I'm learning to really get out of my comfort zone a little bit and maybe not have everything planned right down to the last detail. But like for example, is right now we've got ourselves pretty well planned out until April, and now what we do is we're talking about how are we going to get there? Where are we going to go? What are we going to do next? And try to kind of sketch out where our life is actually going to go. And it's exciting. It's exciting when we have those kind of brainstorming strategies of, I don't know, what do you want to do in April? Kinds of things.
We've heard the tulips in Amsterdam are gorgeous. Let's go there.
So, and then we all, we've got our ideas of where we wanted to visit and what we wanted to see. So for long term, these might be places that we might want to live in, when we're done doing our nomadic traveling, but also just, bucket list places. Like we're planning right now to be in Venice, Italy in April, in the end of April. And it's like, we're not going to miss it. It's kind of out of the way of our routing of where we want to go, but we're not going to bypass something like that because we've never been there and definitely on.
And we don't think it's any place we would ever live. We may find out we'd love it and want to live there, but it's just because we're going to be in Italy, why not do Venice? So, and I think one of the challenges we're also learning about logistics is we're really learning how to balance the revenue side of it. The revenue being we've got travel points, we've got airline points, we've got credit card points, and we have cash. And when do we pay what for where? And which website is the right one to book on things in order to maximize the cash or the travel and reward points? And so we're learning all these hacking skills and these hacking things in order to drive down our budget. So speaking of budget, we promised you at the beginning of the video way back 12 minutes ago that we were going to talk to you about our budget. So briefly, I've never really mentioned much about the budget in our videos, and I do kind of touch on it in the blog. But so what we're trying to do is live off of $48,000 a year, which breaks out to $4,000 a month. Now, some months are more expensive, some are less, depending on where we live. So even though we try to keep within a monthly $4,000, we really eye that annual $48,000 a year. That does not include, it includes our insurance, but it does not include our health care. Remember I told you we had a $5,000 deductible on our health care? We actually have $5,000 put over in a separate savings account, and we use that in order to pay for our health care, and we replenish that as we have extra cash or whatever come in to do that. So with our $48,000, we track it each month, and we do it by category, and we really just, not so much that we try to save money here or spend money there. We just try to see kind of from an interest point of view where we're spending money. So I'm going to roll a video here, and just Steve and I are going to step out, and the video is going to come in, and it's going to tell you about our November and December expenses, and then our annual budget and how we came in for the budget. So we're going to stop here, drop the video. Here's our November expenses. In November, not only were we on a cruise, but we purchased a cruise for March. So because we incurred the expense in November, we recorded it in November, and we spread that cruise amount of $2,400 across food and drink, housing, and travel. In December, we were in a house sit most of the time in Mexico, and the $910 is actually for Airbnbs we purchased for January and February. So regardless, you can see that we're under budget in our Mexico time, and here is what our total expenses look like by month for the year. You'll see in August we had a $7,000 hit, and that was because we were just ramping up all of our travel. We were also vacationing in Ireland, and we had our daughter with us, making us over budget by about $3,000. But by the end of the year, we had pulled it all together, and we came in just over budget by about $400 for the year, considering our annual budget, our monthly budget is $4,000. Okay, we're back. And I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it really explains kind of how we do our budget and what it looked like for the year. But I think Steve's got some comments he wants to share.
I'm just so thrilled and so excited that we are, basically 6 months into our nomadic journey. And, a long time ago, is when we said, gee, I think we could do this on $4,000 a month. And I was pretty skeptical at the time. And I was like, can we really be full-time traveling on vacation? I feel like I'm on vacation 24/7. How can you do that for $4,000 a month? Well, we did it within a percentage point, and for the last 6 months, and I'm just ecstatic over that. And and just because we haven't shorted anything. We're doing incredible things. We're doing amazing things in our life. It's not like we're saying, oh, gee, we can't do that. It's too much money. I don't know.
There's been several times that Steve and I have been someplace on top of a mountain or in a cenote day, or and it's exquisitely beautiful and not even something we could have imagined. And we're sitting there, and I'll say to Steve, or he'll say to me, "This is our life. This is our life. Like, we get to do this every day." So, I mean, it's not cenotes and great hiking every day. I mean, we do this stuff, and we do planning, and we sit around the house and surf on the computer all day because we don't feel like doing anything, or we've got a dog that needs special care for the day, and we have to sit there and make sure the dog's fine. But pretty much, the flexibility of having so many things to do can actually be kind of stressful because we have to figure out what it is we're going to do. So the good news is, like Steve said, I am thrilled after 6 months on the road, one of those months being a very expensive month in Ireland when we first started. We came in within a couple $100 of our semi-annual budget. So our budget for the year would have been $24,000 because we were only traveling for 6 months, and we came in at $24,000 and a couple $100. So, I mean, I don't know, round that, and we came in right on budget. So anyway, looking forward, so one of the things that we do, as we explained in the video, is that we account for the expense in the month that we spend the money. So we have a lot of expenses coming in January for the travel that we need to plan in April, May, and June that won't be things we're doing in January, but will be things we're doing in April, May, and June, which is traveling all over Italy, enjoying the coast of Spain, and getting to Lisbon, we hope. That's kind of what we're going to be doing. In the meantime, we're here in the Yucatan Peninsula until the end of January. So next week, we'll be in Cancun. So we're moving on Saturday.
From this beach to that beach.
From this beach to that beach. So if you are going to be in Cancun in the month of January, shout out to us because we would love to get together with you. All right. That's going to conclude for today. Please, please, please comment below on what you liked about this video. Say hi to this one over here. His name is Steve, Steve. Number one husband, number one love of my life. And look at that smile. And anything else any questions you might have about our budget or our logistics or the 6 things that we learned. Talk to you next week. Talk to you soon.